And what he said is, you are a celebrity. There's product here. Right here.
Hello, welcome back. What number is this? Is this 11?
Número 11.
Oof. We're really racing through now. Now we are on a time limit, aren't we, this week?
Yeah, we've got
the Hornets.
The Hornets are on
the early
45
kickoff
minutes.
The championship. So
it's a big game against AFC Bournemouth.
Oh, it's two
promotion contenders.
Are they? This isn't a football podcast.
They're third in the league, Benny.
Okay, they might get automatic promotion spots. Right. We'll
Welcome to That Football Blog UK.
We should do an episode on football films. Talk about the goal films.
What else are there? What, The Blind Side?
Bend It Like Beckham.
Bend It Like Beckham.
Green Street. The director of whom blocked me on Twitter. Still not sure why I've been blocked. I don't think I'll ever know. Apparently she blocked 10,000 critics in one day, so I kind of feel privileged that I was considered a critic. But
that's kind of cool.
I'm kind of happy with that. Right, we'll dive into the news. We'll blast through this. First up, this was announced yesterday as we were recording.
I haven't heard this.
New it's a super reboot we got written down, but it's not confirmed to be a reboot. All that's known is J.J. Abrams is producing a new Superman film, and it's written by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
I'm familiar with his work.
He's a comic writer. He's done some Black Panther stuff. He's done some
The Atlantic
books. And the current discourse is Henry Cavill might be done and dusted. There were rumours that Michael B. Jordan's going to be Superman, and if that's true, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But not much else is known about that. I'll be honest, J.J. Abrams has kind of stung me now after Rise of Skywalker. So, but he's not.
But you love Lost, don't you?
I've not watched Lost, although now it's on Disney Plus Star. I'm sure I'll get to it one day.
If you start the first series, I binged.
Is it
very
good?
Very watchable first series. It gets worse. I started watching sort of halfway through series 3, which apparently was a good place to stop.
I remember when it was coming out. It was all over Sky. I was just trying to watch The Simpsons. There were adverts everywhere. Yeah. And also in Disney news, there were quite a lot of release dates announced this week, but I've just picked the 3 that are interesting. Star Wars: The Bad Batch starts May the 4th.
What the hell is that?
So it's a cartoon set after Clone Wars. And it follows a group of rogue clones who weren't indoctrinated by Order 66 as they navigate the galaxy as the Empire starts rising.
Right.
It looks there's a trailer out. It looks brilliant. They are in a few episodes of the most recent season of Clone Wars, and they're interesting characters. Obviously, I don't think we're going to get much lightsaber action in this compared to Clone Wars, but hey, I'm really looking forward to that.
And you like lightsaber action? I
like lightsaber action. However, the book I'm currently reading is all about pilots. I'm 450 pages in. There's not been a single lightsaber. So I'm just here for the galaxy. Monsters at Work starts July the 2nd. I can't wait for that.
What is that?
Monsters Inc. sequel series.
Oh.
I can't wait.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't think they've not released a trailer or anything, but I'm just excited to be back in the world. It's been 8 years since Monsters University. I'm ready for more.
I guess it could be good.
I think there's some
Billy
decent
Crystal and John Goodman.
They're back, definitely.
Oh, I like them.
They're great. Who else is 6 months after the events of Monsters Inc., the city of Monstropolis is making the transition to be fueled by the sound of laughter. Tyler Tuskman, a recent Scare Major graduate from Monsters University, that's tying in, working as a mechanic in the facilities team, dreams of working alongside his idols Mike Wazowski and James P. Sully Sullivan.
But that's an interesting, because he's a Scare Major. So all those people need to retrain in sort of comedy.
Yeah, he's got his big graduate panic when he realises his degree's worth nothing.
His degree doesn't mean anything anymore.
Relatable.
Because Mike Wazowski
Mike Wazowski ruined so many future graduates' chances. And another announcement: Spider-Man: No Way Home, December 17th this year.
Oh, I thought it was called. It was.
They kind of each of the three leads posted a different title. It was quite funny. But I just wanted information.
And then a video with.
Yeah, there was a nice little skit. Just those
Zendaya is Michi.
It's not the first time you saw that.
I'll stop there.
I think a trailer should be
coming soon. Historical. Communist don't keep her. And Zendaya is Michi.
Nice. You should release an album of these little skit songs.
Well, it's not my song. I can't take credit for that.
You could do a cover album. Michael Bublé's made a career off it. No shade to Michael.
It's no shade.
Paramount Plus has been announced. I don't think it's coming here, but there was a Rugrats trailer. It's like a 3D animated Rugrats show.
Well, I never watched Rugrats.
Oh, Rugrats!
I didn't like the art style.
It was brilliant. The Rugrats movie, Rugrats in Paris, used to get me every time. I named my guinea pig Chucky after Chucky from Rugrats. I saw a lot of myself in him. He was quite a timid little boy.
That's
iCarly revival series.
iCarly revival. Well, as long as Jerry Trainor's back.
Surely. Miranda.
Miranda Cosgrove. Jeanette McCurdy.
The whole squad. Maybe they'll do another One Direction episode. Did you ever see that? Yeah.
I didn't.
It was
iCarly was a good show.
iCarly was a great show.
iCarly was good. Wasn't as good as Drake and Josh.
No, it wasn't as good as Zoe 101 either.
Oh, Nathan Kress looks he looks the same, but sort of old.
I wonder how it's gonna. Are they gonna be influencers now?
Yes.
That'd be
if they could do thing is, if this was sort of aimed at adults who watched the original show and not kids,
I'd like that.
If it was it's like if it was a balls to the wall, drama about being an influencer. Dread. Yeah, existential dread. Being an influencer, addiction, depression.
Child stars.
All the real,
That'd
issues.
Be brilliant.
That would be amazing. I hope it's like that.
They've said this is a revival, so I don't know what that means.
It means it's got to have the cast back
for
a nitty gritty drama.
If it's just a plain reboot with a different cast, I'm going to be furious. However,
Cosgrove, Kress, and Trainer are returning. Apparently.
Oh, yes. I think Jeanette McCurdy said before she's done with Nickelodeon, which is a shame. Did you ever watch Sam and Cat with Ariana Grande?
I did not.
I was done by that.
A crossover episode.
It's a whole show, man.
But it doesn't actually make sense because Victoria, what's her name? Justice was in iCarly as a boxer once.
Yeah, she was.
And then, obviously, Sam and Cat means that they exist in the same world, Victorious and iCarly, which then is a bit of
continuity's in tatters.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the purpose for this revival series, just to tie all the loose ends up.
Oh, if there was a supernatural element, I'd be interested.
Ooh.
Especially if it was, Spencer.
Oh, do you remember the guy? The guy who was in iCarly was like, "You'll rue this day."
Rue the day.
Maybe
he became like a main character. It's called like Gibby.
That's not Gibby.
Was it not?
No, Gibby was just one of the friends.
I thought it was Gibby. I thought it was Gibby before he came friends.
Rue the Day, guys, is a whole separate beast entirely. I forgot his name. I want to say Ned. No, it's not. iCarly Rue the Day. Neville Papperman. Maybe the whole show is about Neville Papperman coming back to haunt the iCarly.
Nevelocity, a site that reviews other websites, including iCarly. See, iCarly had her own website.
Yeah.
Right, what else have we got in the news?
And the last bit of this Paramount news, they're making a Halo TV series.
Oh yeah, everyone's getting on the video game action.
I mean, I've never played Halo, but it seems it's kind of thing I'd be more interested in watching than playing. So.
But that's Paramount Plus. Do they Will that be good? Well, I've never even heard Paramount Plus, if I'm being honest.
It's coming out next month, I think, but I don't.
Owned by CBS.
They're releasing loads of their recent cinema things. They're doing an HBO Max, so Quiet Place Part 2 is going on there really soon afterwards.
It's the CBS All Access, right?
So is it?
Yeah. Because it's owned by CBS Paramount Plus. So we'll get The Stand, the Stephen King post-apocalyptic thing.
Okay.
That could be good. Star Trek Picard.
Is that they're making more of it, or is it just going on to that?
Renewed.
Really? Okay. I need to watch
that. Wow. Paramount Plus making moves.
Is it come to the UK? Probably not.
I'm sure it will.
I reckon it will just come on Sky or Amazon or something like that.
Yeah, we like those big companies. The ones with monopolies.
Big fan of big conglomerates.
Big fan of vast amounts of money being pooled.
Concentration of ownership. Everything under one umbrella. That's what I like.
That's what we like here at That Film Blog UK. So if you're listening...
it's got the seal of approval.
We're looking to be bought out. To expand the brand.
Rob us of any creative control.
Yeah, right. We've got half an hour to talk about 2 films we've watched recently.
Okay, I'll start first.
You take the lead. Now tell me about the film that you've watched.
So
I'll quickly get in my review of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom first, which I watched this week.
Far away.
It is garbage. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It is garbage, but I've never had. I don't know if I've ever had so much fun with that much garbage.
Really?
I enjoyed it a lot. I won't lie. I was having a good time.
I have no attachment to the Jurassic Park franchise. I've seen Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World, and that's it.
I was laughing a lot at the stupidity. I almost got the sense that it was it almost knew that it was terrible.
I see a lot of criticism that Jeff Goldblum's not in it much.
Yeah.
But are you a fan of the franchise? Did that bother you, or is it just...
To be honest, I've seen most of Jurassic Park, the first one. I never finished it, though.
It doesn't appeal to me. You
don't like dinosaurs?
No, I don't dislike. I like Power Rangers and their dinosaurs. Well, they come from dinosaurs, but...
That's kind of nerdy that you know that.
Yeah, did I mention on the podcast last time that I bought a 18-pack of Power Ranger DVDs a few weeks ago.
That's really sad, and you should probably cut that out.
Editing.
That's going on the cutting room floor.
People can't know that. I have a reputation at stake. So, the film I watched was Sator, and...
What is it?
It's a horror. It's out now, out on DVD and digital now.
And it's named after Kenneth Branagh's character in Tenet.
No. Sadly, this isn't a Tenet spin-off. I wish it was, because who doesn't want more of Tenet? I don't want more of it. Anyway.
I'd like more.
I'm done. I'm done with Christopher Nolan's shtick.
Oh.
His pretentious... Anyway, we're getting away from the point. So, it's written... The whole film took 7 years to make.
Wow.
Written, edited, directed, produced, shot, and scored by one person, Jordan Graham.
Right.
And he even built the cabin where the main character lives. He built it by hand, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
And it's like a horror, and the concept is there's this family, and the grandmother, who's played by his real grandmother, who in the film has dementia, is like not quite haunted, but enamored with this idea of this demon that looks over her and protects her, called Sator. And it's really interesting the way it's done, and that's why I think at points the film's ideas are better than its execution, because a lot of the film comprises of real life footage of Jordan Graham's grandmother towards the end of her life, as she's having these like dementia kind of monologues about Sator, and she does like drawings, and it's that bit is real. So what it does is it contextualizes like these, not outbursts, but ideas she has with like a horror narrative, which is I found it a really interesting way of doing it. And I think that it's sometimes a bit more unnerving thinking about it like that than actually the film is in execution. Because it follows then her grandchildren. There's 3 grandchildren, 2 brothers and a sister. One of whom, he's the main guy. He lives in this cabin in the woods, and he kind of spends his life trying to find Sator. So he's got secret cameras set up in the woods, and he goes out and checks them every day. He lives a really secluded lifestyle. And the film's got really, really good reviews. It's 4-star from The Guardian, and I liked it. But my issue was that I don't think there was quite enough momentum to propel the story. The first, it's not the longest, it's like an hour and 25. And the first half an hour, to me, is just a bit alienating and slow.
Right.
You don't learn too much. You get the start is really interesting. It kind of switches aspect ratio throughout the film, depending on whether you're seeing a flashback to their grandmother or whether you're in the present. And when you're in the present, it's not quite as engaging, because a lot of the first half an hour is just this main guy grabbing a beer, sitting around in his cabin, checking the things, hearing a noise. And it doesn't quite do enough to unearth the characters to make you really get too invested. However, it does pick up the other brother. I can't remember the character's names, I'll be honest. But the other brother, this isn't relevant at all, but he looks like Ollie McBurney, and I could not see that throughout the whole film. Thinking, what's he doing here? But it then looks more into the family themselves, especially the last half an hour. It picks up a lot. Looks at their mother, who isn't present, and you kind of wonder whether this idea of Sator is a hereditary thing, whether it's a demon or whether it's symptomatic of mental illness within the family, which is a motif that's quite well explored. And on a technical level, it's also really impressively done. So, as I say, it's made over 7 years, all by one guy. And the vision it's really well directed. The vision's really clear. I just think the plotting wasn't quite as tight as it could have been, which is a shame, because, as I say, I found it a lot more unnerving after watching it, reading about it, hearing that this idea of Sator actually did originate from his grandmother, and those scenes with her and non-fiction. That's so much creepier than like a classic demon story. So a lot of the aesthetics here feel influenced by something like The Last of Us, for example. Right. This kind of desolate world. You follow one main grizzled guy just trying to get by, and I don't know. I liked it, but it's perhaps a bit too abstract.
I'd say you've piqued my interest. It does sound sort of like a fascinating watch, especially it's only 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's a brisk watch, and it as I say, it is very well realised and it's interesting. I just wish, I've got written here, I just wish I had a bit more narrative momentum, but the last 30 minutes is really enjoyable, and it reveals, if the first half is a bit slow, the second half is the opposite, and you get plenty of information, and there is a satisfying element of horror, and the stuff that's abstract in the first half that's a bit frustrating, in the second half feels much more whimsical and enjoyable. It's maybe just a bit unbalanced in how it handles that, but I do get why Jordan Graham does it in that way, because obviously you don't want to play all your cards at once. But no, I recommend it. It reminded me, I've written down a few things it reminds me of. Some of the aesthetics feel a lot like our good friend Bait. The like these flashback sequences in their boxed in aspect ratio, the black and white, the homemade feel. It reminded me of that a bit. As I say, The Last of Us. It reminded me a bit of a film I saw at London Film Festival last year called Rose: A Love Story, which is about a couple, and one of them's got a mysterious virus, so they live a secluded life in the woods. It feels like that, and obviously it's not influenced by that because this will have been shot in 2013. And you can see the influence there. It also reminded me a bit of A Quiet Place. Again, obviously, I don't think it was influenced due to the timeline. And it's very unnerving when things work. And as a horror director, Jordan Graham's got a really strong vision. It's so unnerving and unsettling when it wants to be. And the personal aspect behind it is really... I can't think of another horror film that has taken a real life footage interspliced with a story, especially one so close and personal to the director. And for that, I think it's a really interesting idea. I just wish perhaps there was a bit more to it in that first half to keep you invested. Because once you're invested, that second half's brilliant. But there's just not quite enough there at the start for me.
Oh, you've sounds very good.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
And is Jordan Graham one to watch for the future with
a
bit more budget?
A bit more budget. Hopefully, not another 7-year production cycle. Because I would like to see another film from him. It's a very interesting take. A lot of people say Blair Witch has been tossed about. I haven't seen Blair Witch, so I can't say. But if you're getting compared to that sort of thing, you're obviously doing something right.
Absolutely right.
So that's Sator, out now, DVD phenomena. And digital.
Very nicely done.
Mm-hmm. Have you got something for us?
Well, I've recently watched a film that has been winning all sorts of awards, probably, and winning the hearts and minds of critics and fans everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's called Minari.
Oh, okay.
It's directed by Lee Isaac Chung, I believe. Yes, Lee Isaac Chung. Yep. It's A24, Plan B Entertainment, Brad Pitt's production company. Ooh. So Brad Pitt was an executive producer on the film. He's good, Brad. And it tells a very interesting story of a Korean family who moved to Arkansas. Mm-hmm. Basically, they buy a farm. And they are sort of going after it's an American dream film, but it's an immigrant story, and in the main role we have the brilliant, the very likable, hugely talented Stephen Yeun, I believe it's pronounced Stephen Yeun, Glenn from Walking Dead. Recently he's been in Okja,
great film,
Young-ho, Burning, which was a hugely successful South Korean film by a director that's done a few very good films. I can't remember what he's called though, which I haven't seen. But I was about to watch it once, and then the person I was watching it with changed their mind.
Ah, okay.
Which was deeply upsetting. So I still haven't seen Burning, but this film has made me want to watch that because Stephen Yeun is excellent in this film. Mm. He plays obviously the father. His wife is played by Yeri Han. She's called Monica. His name's Jacob Yi. They're the Yi family. Mm. And then you've also got, there's a bit of, I'll say it's beautifully shot. Lots of sort of beautiful shots of the greens of Arkansas. And then it has really good, it's brilliantly written. I think the script is brilliant. It's got really great characters. Jacob Yi, Stephen Yeun, is sort of he's very driven, and he's almost to an obsessive extent trying to make this sort of farm a success. Yeah. And I think the film sort of demonstrates, how immigrants sort of have to work, that much harder to sort of make something a success, and it sells that very well. And then there's also a very interesting relationship between Jacob and his wife Monica, who almost doesn't really immediately, literally in the sort of first scene, the film opens with sort of credits of them driving, and then when they arrive, it's pretty obvious that the wife isn't sort of, it's not what she'd imagined, because it's technically a big caravan that they're living in with wheels, and there's and it's not really what she'd imagined, and then there's sort of this tension between, and there's clearly a lot of tension between them historically, this this couple.
Yeah.
And they have 2 kids called Anne, who's sort of not in it that much, but she's sort of, I don't know, she's a reliable sort of character. She's I don't know, 10, 11. And then there's a younger boy called David who has a heart condition, and that's sort of, a lot of the plot is to do with David and sort of looking after him.
Yeah.
What else have I mentioned? Oh, of course, the grandma. One of she's arguably the heart of the film, along with David. There's several hearts of the film. There's a lot of aspects. And she arrives. She is Monica's mother. And David doesn't like her for not being a real grandma, and what that means is sort of hit the American idea of a grandma, who bakes cookies.
Yeah.
I can't remember, Sunya, I think the grandma is called. She sort of plays cards, swears. She's a lot of fun. She's a great character. She's very watchable. And I hope that the actress whose name is Yoo Jong-yoon gets some sort of recognition, because she is brilliant. Obviously, events transpire that I won't go into that drive the sort of plot. There's also they're helped out on the farm by a very almost crazily religious man called, I think, Paul, who's sort of a bit odd, but he's sort of very likable in his own way. And it's in essence, it's a very simple film. There's sort of just scenes of life, and it's about it is just about their sort of struggle to make it, and about the American dream, and sort of what that means as well, and how is it is it a myth,
the American lie.
Indeed. But it's very beautiful. There's a few sort of montages with very lovely soundtrack. I don't know who did the music, of them just farming, and it's delicate, and you get the sense that it's all sort of everything's been done for a reason or whatever. I think you should definitely go watch it. It is a beautiful film.
How do you rate its Oscar chances?
I'd like to see it nominated for Best Picture at least. Stephen Yeun nomination would be great. The grandma and supporting actress, it would all be worthy. If I had to say one criticism, I would say sort of at moments I didn't feel there was sort of enough oomph, but that is me sort of nitpicking.
Yeah.
The sort of the scenes where there could have been more sort of oomph, like I said, more of an emotional gut punch in a way. But maybe that's just it's trying to be realistic, I think, and it doesn't want to wallow in sort of the situations they find themselves in.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many different aspects to the film. All the relationships are good, interesting. And I say it's a character-driven family drama, with themes of the American dream and race to a sort of minor extent, but more sort of just immigrants. But it's a Korean, it's entrenched in sort of Korean.
Yeah.
Lots of Korean elements that.
Somehow there's a real heart to it. I'm just trying to find its UK-wide release. Because obviously you saw it at Glasgow.
I think it's in March. Yeah, I paid for at Glasgow Film Festival.
Lucky. I saw it a second ago. Yeah, it's March, 19th of March. And I will be spending some money to watch that. I also think Judas and the Black Messiah is meant to have come out. That's not relevant to this at all.
But we both want to watch it.
We do. I'm pretty sure it came out like yesterday, or maybe it comes out Monday.
How do we watch that then?
I'm guessing it'll be on iTunes or Amazon. I'm gonna
coming soon in the UK. It says.
I guess it's not. Maybe they've pushed it a bit. I don't know.
It doesn't say. This is on the Warner Brothers website. But I've got a couple of other films that I've paid for at the Glasgow Film Festival, and they are Black Bear, which is a very exciting film, starring Aubrey Plaza, Sarah Gadon, and Christopher Abbott. In a sort of... Aubrey Plaza plays, what I know from the film, plays a sort of director, actress who's making a film, and I think the gist of the film, from what I got from the trailer, is that it's sort of trying to blur the reality between art and life.
I love movies.
It's meant to be sort of a bit psychological, mind-bending, and that I can watch that from tonight, 8:30. So I'll probably watch it tonight, I think.
Lovely.
Oh no, I said I'd watch Guardians of the Galaxy tonight.
It's a great film.
Good film nonetheless, with a different Parks and Recreation star.
Are we gonna get to hear your musings about Black Bear?
My musings about Black Bear.
Yeah,
I will be sharing all on Black Bear and the other film, which I will be watching, which I can watch from next Friday. First Cow, which is Kelly Reichardt's latest film, which I'm very excited to watch. I'm a big fan of her work, even though I've started Meek's Cut Off twice, which is her film of people on the Oregon Trail going west, and their guide's called Meek, and he's a bit useless. And I've watched half of that twice and never finished it. But this is her second, therefore western in a sense, on the frontier. And John Magaro, Toby Jones, I think, is in it. And I'm very excited to see that as well. I'm a big fan of her work. She's a very talented woman.
I think that was at London again, but I didn't watch it. That's another one I'm kicking myself for. But I look forward to hearing you.
So yeah, if we do a podcast sort of next Saturday, I will have seen both films probably, and I'll be able to give my thoughts on them as well.
We can get the lowdown.
So
very exciting.
Watch Minari, watch Sator.
Support these films. I'll probably leave in the description of this podcast the DVD and link stuff to Sator.
Nice.
Because you got to support independent filmmaking. That's what we're here for.
Independent cinema is very important.
I say after watching The Force Awakens last night. And
I say before watching Guardians of the Galaxy tonight.
Our Disney Plus subscriptions are being used well. Okay, Ollie, I appreciate there's 10 minutes to kick off, so...
10 minutes to kick off. Well, we can chat for a bit longer if you want.
Any recommendations for the week upcoming?
Any recommendations for the week upcoming? Let me get my old trusty Radio Times, which obviously any listener can do themselves, but who has the time and effort?
That's what this isn't here for. Our breakdown. What I will say is, WandaVision finale is next Friday. Or when this comes out, Friday. It's this Friday technically. I've still not seen the penultimate episode.
Well, I'm looking now. We've got a couple of excellent films. Inception will be on TCM, which I think is a free channel.
Yeah, I don't know actually.
I think TCM. It's next to Film 4, so I think it's free.
You'd hope so.
And then Apocalypse Now, Final Cut is on tonight. Both films are on tonight. Inception 9, TCM. Apocalypse Now, Final Cut, 11 PM on BBC 2. So
is that
you
the
won't
new cut?
I think BBC showed it off before, fairly recently. And then what else have we got?
I'm looking on Disney Plus because obviously all the stars come out. I'm trying to think if I've got any recommendations for what's out.
The Most Violent Year is on Sony Movies on Wednesday. That's Oscar Isaac, Jessica Chastain, playing a couple who are sort of getting involved in the criminal underworld, and it all gets a bit too much, I think.
I'll tell you what I'm going to recommend.
And that's J.C. Chandor directed that film, and it's excellent.
That's on BFI Player, the UK's favourite independent streaming service. And recently has come on BFI Player as Mogul Mowgli.
Right.
Which is I've done a review on it, but that's Riz Ahmed tearing it up as a British Asian rapper, and the whole thesis is him trying to navigate between. He's kind of got an internalized self-loathing for his Asian background,
right.
and he's about to go on tour in America. He's about to crack it big time, but he goes through a medical incident that then leads to him spending most of the film in hospital. And it's then about him coming to terms with the two sides of his identity. He's kind of haunted throughout the film by this spectre, whose name escapes me because it's been a while. It's kind of comprised of a lot of traditional Asian imagery, this character, and he's kind of frightened by it. It intrudes in his thoughts and dreams, and it's a very interesting look into like the life of second generation, the parents, the children of first generation immigrants, and how they navigate the sides of their identity. So that is, and I reckon with the BAFTAs on their way, if he doesn't get a nomination for that, I'd be very shocked. So that's on.
Do you think he'll get nominated for one of either Mogul Mowgli or The Sound of Metal at the Oscars?
He must do. I'm dying to see Sound of Metal. I was due
does sound very good.
A link, but now it's been pushed back for UK release, so I'm not sure when I get to see it. But if he doesn't get one for either of them, I'd be shocked because he's got so much. I think Sound of Metal's more likely just because that's got more buzz to it than Mogul Mowgli. But in the UK, the BFI made Mogul Mowgli, so I feel like it's more likely to get a BAFTA than Sound of Metal. But either way, he probably deserves one. He's a gem, that man.
He's in the next week. King Kong is on Sunday. The Peter Jackson version with the brilliant Jack Black. Bridge of Spies, film 4 on Tuesday night, 6:15. And then Friday night, if you haven't seen this, you've got to. 9 p.m, Friday night, film 4, Denis Villeneuve's Arrival.
I haven't seen it.
It's a must see. You haven't seen it?
I watched half of it on the plane and then I never finished it.
Oh, you got to watch it on a big screen. That's a brilliant film. Big fan of Arrival.
I'm noting that down.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's it. Sound of Metal is on Prime.
I think it's on Prime in America. I don't know if it's on Prime.
Oh, yeah, it's only in America. Cut that out.
Which is really irritating because I want to see it really bad. I'm surprised it hasn't been at any festivals or anything.
Yeah.
It hasn't. It genuinely hasn't.
I might go on Glasgow Film Festival right now, see if there's any others that I'd pay for.
I'll quickly tell the story of my nightmare getting the wrong pass for Glasgow. So
let's hear it.
I paid my money thinking I'll get a press one like I did for London. And then I never really got the email to sign up for the pressing. So I was like, oh, okay. I'll just chase it up. And I did, and they said, oh, no, your industry pass has gone through properly. You'll get an email in the next few days. And I realised industry pass, it's not what I wanted.
Right.
It's the opposite of what I wanted, because you can't watch any films with the industry pass. You just get access to, like, Zooms and seminars, which I'm sure are fascinating, but it's not...
You could have sat in on some of them.
I mean, I still can, because they haven't happened yet.
Right.
But it's all about, like, film production. And I guess it'd be interesting. Maybe I'll just stick it on.
I could drop in for you. Bring some insights back for the That Film Blog UK podcast.
You could be our reporter. I mean, you could genuinely kind of do because I'm not going to use it. I tried to get a refund and couldn't.
I could sit in.
Yeah,
as long as I don't have to speak.
No, you could just sit, mic on mute, head down. No, we can sort that.
That could be interesting.
Which was annoying. However, later, every cloud, this is coming out 1st of March, I think. Later this month, the BFI Flair Festival is on. We've got accreditation. The program's out if anyone wants to have a look. Oli, if there's anything there you want to cover, HMU, because that's going to be. I'm really excited for that.
I'll have a look at the BFI Flair.
It's been a while since London Film Festival. I'm excited to dive back in.
Yeah,
plenty of LGBTQ+ films. I'm really looking forward to that.
Do you think you'll be invited to the real ones after COVID?
I hope so. I'd love to head down to South Bank.
Yeah.
Oh,
London,
a
Glasgow. Sit in a screening.
That'd be so cool.
Writing notes.
Head to a pub afterwards, chat with all the critics. Oh, what do we think?
Yeah.
We'd be in the circle. Have you guys heard our podcast?
We usually get between 7 and 12 views.
I doubt there's anyone listening to us currently. I know I won't be. I never edit this far.
Oh, I know. I don't listen to the podcast.
I tried once because I listened to podcasts to go to sleep. This is why I tried to put our podcast on to fall asleep to, which was probably the most egotistical thing I've ever done. But it didn't work, so I gave up.
Sounds fun though.
Yeah.
Right, Watford are on in a few minutes.
Right, Ollie, it's been a pleasure as always.
As always.
I'll chat to you next week.
I'll do a couple of reviews. I'm looking forward to them.
Looking forward to it. Everybody, thanks for listening. Stay safe, as always.
Stay safe
and
in these unprecedented times.
Of course.
And most importantly, keep it breezy.
As breezy as possible.
Yeah.